Hey, Read Through the Word. Today is May 12th, and today's lesson is called Waiting. And we are in the Psalms. So this is a hard time in reading. And although some of you might think it isn't, but there's 150 Psalms. And we covered some of the ones that Moses wrote when we were talking about Moses. So now we're covering the ones that David wrote in this time. And the Psalms are full of so many cries of the heart that, and I've probably mentioned in here before, that the Psalms sometimes can be a struggle for me, in that in my flesh, I can be driven by emotion, and I can easily let emotion take me off. That's why I believe in the Word of God and have helped it, and it has helped to renew my mind, and it has helped to take every thought captive with the Word. Is that sometimes my emotion can want to take. I have so many times that it wants to take me and I have to pull it back. And so the open emotion of the Psalms can be a little much for me. But on the other hand, it helps me know how to train those emotions in the right way, because we see how they've been expressed. So I'm not doing a general, I might end up doing one, but not this week, of a general overview of the Psalms. I am going to look specifically at a set of Psalms. I think it's maybe Wednesday of this week, but today I want to look at Psalm 62. And it says this: that I wait quietly before God, for my victory comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress where I will never be shaken. And then it goes from there. And so all of Psalm 62 is what I'm going to talk about today. I think last year or year before, I did Psalm 66, which is tell the world how glorious He is. Or I think I did Psalm 67 a couple of years ago. But it is the idea that David is showing us in times of trouble how to wait on God. And I know we've talked about that some here, about this idea of waiting is not just sitting in a chair twiddling your thumbs. I think so many times we think waiting, we think in the waiting room at the doctor's office, or the waiting room in my town, it's the DMV. You be waiting all day. So it is this idea, if I'm doing nothing but sitting here. And that's not, as we're supposed to wait on the Lord for His return. But as we're waiting on the Lord, it is active. And so in this active waiting, what does it look like? And this psalm really does show us. It actually gives us six identifiers for our waiting period. Just so many things. I mean, honestly, go read Wendy's book, Wait and See. But this idea of wait. But I want to mention two things about God here. When you look across world religions, the false gods of world religions are usually one of two ways. They're either transcendent, like a deist idea of God is out there. They call it the clockmaker. He started it and then stepped away. So yes, God created, or this idea of some people, when they think about intelligent design, they're like, there's an intelligent designer who designed everything and we never saw him again. And so they don't like to say that intelligent designer is God. But I would say that there's some arguments that could tell you it is God. But then there is this idea, so that is one idea. Or these false gods are immanent. They're like with us. And some of them say they are in you. Like you yourself are God. Or God's in the trees and God's in the flowers and that he is so close. The God of the Bible is both transcendent. He is creator God. He is Yahweh. He is Elohim. Yet he is immanent. He is close. He is Adonai. He is personal. And the more I walk with the Lord, the more I'm in his word, the more I see that this walk with him is supposed to be so personal. It is the ultimate relationship of my life. And I'm supposed to know him so well that I tell other people about him. And this, that's what we see in this weight, is that David knows the Lord. Now, y'all know I have a hard time with David. But when we get things like this shows me why he has what God says, that he's a man after his own heart. We see the heart of David. And we see this, that exactly what it's like when we have troubles, not if we have troubles, but when we have troubles, when we have trials, when we have times of difficulties. We need to remember how to wait on God. And this psalm shows us that. So David's psalm gives us spirit-led words to help us wait for God to act in times of trouble. Because it's not that if God's going to, it's believing that he will. Because we know God and we know how he acts. And we know that he acts for our good, for his glory. And so we see these 6 things. So the first thing we see is patience. David proclaimed that he would wait for God. David's faith was not conditional on the answer he wanted. I'm going to wait as long as you answer in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to wait till I get the answer I want. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to keep on waiting until I get what I want. So it was the idea that trusting God and know, which is going to come along here, but the patience to wait for God's timing, not man. So patience. The next one is dependence. David professed that he would depend on God as his refuge and protection. Total, ultimate dependence, reliance on God. That's how we wait. Third thing is prayer. David cried out to God to deliver him, and David poured out his heart in need. Prayer. Now, I think about my prayer life. I've told y'all before, the two markers of the Christian life are prayer and Bible study. And to talk to God and to hear from God in his word. And the Bible part was easier for me than prayer. And I say all the time that I have a hard time with prayer, but I think my prayer life is supposed to look a certain way. And that's what I have a hard time with. But like I told y'all, I was an emotional person. I handle a lot of that in prayer, because I've learned now, I don't go running to my friends. I don't go running to my husband. I go running to the Lord and say, Lord, I am dealing with this. And I have my husband, I will be honest with him about things that I'm struggling with. And I will, a really close friend, and I always tell her, Fleshy Lisa's working out some stuff right now, and I'm good. Just you know that this is what I'm working out. So when I ask, I'm bad about asking the same question over and over and over. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm like, I am so sorry. As soon as the Lord deals with me and corrects my heart, you'll know. But this is what it looks like. But my prayer life is that where we're told to be constantly in prayer, that's what mine looks like. I have specific moments where I sit down in special prayer, but when I say I'm constantly talking to Him, I am. And that's what prayer looks like. The next thing is hope. So we have patience, dependence, prayer, hope. David proclaimed that his hope rested in only God. David shows us to look at God and not to things of this world. This world's going to be a hot mess. It's going to continue that way, and it's going to get worse. So I can't look for answers here. I'm not going to get them. My hope comes only from the Lord. The next thing is trust. David proclaimed that he would trust in God alone. That he would trust in God alone. David could endure the trial because he trusted God. He believed that God would work. The next thing is faith. David proclaimed that he had faith in God's power. David knew that God would reward his faith. And so I think we see in times of trouble, we need to remember what it looks like to wait on God. Patience, dependence, prayer, hope, trust, and faith. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.